Hey guys, it's me, the Afro Hamurai. I've had some cough syrup so that I can talk, so hopefully my voice lasts for the entire video. I've only spoken about serious issues like once before on my channel, and since then I've kind of steered clear of them just because I've got to be real. It takes a lot out of me. It's not something that I'm really good at like, having to deal with over and over again. I'm sure that there's people who will understand that out there. But there's lots of people who will say things like, for example, racism doesn't exist in the UK. Here is an example of racism existing in the UK. So this was a person, people have said lady, I don't know their gender, I won't assume, so I'll say a person, who went to a pub. The security guard must have said something to them that they didn't like while they were drunk. So they were kind of like being just generally belligerent. Now, being belligerent when you're drunk, that's not really that much of a problem. The problem is when you decide that it's a good idea to spit at the security guard, to push the security guard over, to use the N-word at the security guard. I decided it would be a great idea for us to have a look through the apology together, so that way we can see how not to apologize when you do something racist. Now, I gotta be real, I normally don't pull up punctuation, but there are only 3 pieces of punctuation I can see in this. There's a comma, there's a full stop, and then there's a question mark. So I think they've used one of each of them for punctuation bingo. And that just shows you how hastily written this was. If you're writing an apology or thinking of an apology and you kind of have to really quickly think it through, then that means that you haven't actually thought about your actions. All it means is that you've thought about how your actions have affected you. And that's never good for apologizing to either an individual or a group of individuals. So I'm already under the filter of, I don't think you're sincerely apologizing. I think that you're sorry that people don't like what you did. I don't think that you're sorry for what you did. But let's see what's happening. I would just like to apologize for the situation that happened at the nightclub. Nightclub, not a pub, sorry, nightclub. I would just like to publicly apologize for the situation that happened at the nightclub, and I would like everyone to know that I am in fact not racist at all. I have several black co-workers who I love dearly and have even dated black men. That first sentence did actually really upset me, and I did DM them individually explaining exactly what my problem with that part was. They haven't responded, and I doubt that they've read it. I'm not like a token or like a card for them to use, basically. It's not like a Pokemon card or a Yu-Gi-Oh where you go, oh look, I have a black person card. That means that I can't be racist towards black people. You've fallen into my trap. Like that's not how it works. Just because you know black people and you decide that you're going to associate yourselves with black people doesn't mean that you're not racist. You could absolutely decide, hey, you know, I know a lot of black people and I've dated black people, and still think less of them because they're black, but then just not tell them about it. Like, you can still be racist and know black people. That's such a like basic and childish reason to think that you're not racist. It's really, really basic at best. And this isn't me calling you basic. This is me saying that your thinking is basic. I was seriously drunk out of my head that night and upset because I wanted to get into the lounge when I had left my ID in the car, which was parked over a mile away. I was in my heels and couldn't get my ID, and I clearly look over 18 but was still refused access to the bar, which is why I was angry. People get angry over a lot of things. Being angry doesn't mean that you can hurl the N-word at someone, but I understand it doesn't justify my words. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't justify your words. Yeah, it doesn't justify your words, but here's something that's even more important. If it doesn't justify your words, why are you leaning on it as if you want to use that as a way for people to try and give you a break? It doesn't justify your words. If it doesn't justify it, deal with that. Okay, back to the video. It may have offended some people, but I'm not racist at all, and at the end of the day, we're all entitled to freedom of speech. We shouldn't be abused for it. What? Yes, my choice of words was wrong, but for me to get plastered all over the internet and so much abuse and even losing my job, do you guys not think that has affected me? Yes, I think it's affected you. If you're I don't think you're watching this, but if you are watching this, listen to me very, 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 very closely, okay? You can say whatever you want. People can react however they want to what you say. You have freedom of speech just like everyone else. If I decided to say something really bad about, I don't know, Raycon headphones or Raid Shadow Legends or whatever it is, like if I decided to say bad things about those brands, I can absolutely say it. and people can react accordingly. That means that the companies can decide that they're never gonna like work with me and that they're never gonna sponsor me, and that would be their right to do so, right? The company that you work for, whoever it is that you work for, I don't know who it is you work for, but if they see an employee of theirs on the internet pushing over a security guard and racially assaulting a security guard, they're allowed to fire you. That's absolutely within their right, because they might not want to be associated with someone who does racist stuff. Getting all of it plastered on the internet, yes, because people in this day and age especially are tired of racism. It's been a year since the murder of George Floyd in the US. There have been so many things that have still happened since then in the US and in the UK and around the world against many different people, many different races, many different genders, many different religions. All of that has still been happening. But what's great now is that people are actually, talking about it and are openly challenging when people do stuff, and are quite rightly making sure that people who do this stuff are criticized and, for lack of a better way of putting it, are exposed to be people who need to change to fit into the society that we're trying to build as like an entire society. I understand what I did was wrong, and I will not be using that language in the future, so I'm asking for forgiveness because I'm honestly not a bad person, so I apologize to anyone I may have offended. This apology is just full of excuses. It's just, I was drunk. Well, then don't be drunk. I mean, the biggest thing is drinking doesn't get you to say things that you wouldn't have said, that you never thought. It gets you to say things that you wouldn't have said, but that you think. It just gets rid of the veil over your face or whatever it is, whatever filter you have. That's all it does. The security guard wouldn't let me in without my ID, even though I definitely looked over 18. So it's the security guard's fault that you decided to push them and racially abuse them. It's the security guard's fault that you decided that you were going to racially assault them. So victim blaming, like actual victim blaming. Okay. My ID was in my car and I was wearing heels. Whose fault is that? Is it the heels' fault that you were wearing them? You know what's great? Take the heels off, hold them in your hand, and then walk to your car that's a mile away, according to you, and get your ID. Or maybe better idea, take your ID with you. The biggest lesson here is when you do something wrong on the internet, which I think applies to both people who are just general individuals who get caught on camera, as well as, YouTubers and stuff, you don't get to choose what the consequences are. And sometimes those consequences are from people who then equally do things that are incorrect. The only thing you get to choose is how it is that you respond to them. And you can either respond to them with lots and lots and lots of excuses, like most of the toxic people on YouTube do anyway, and then make yourself look like this person where you really don't look like you've changed anything. You've made yourself look a lot worse. And as a result, people just will still keep talking about it because they can see that nothing's going to change. Or you can decide to take a little bit of a step back, actually understand what you've done, understand why it's wrong, and look to improve yourself, and maybe not look for excuses as to why it is that you're not responsible, and own up to your responsibility. Maybe they'll change, maybe they'll actually, become someone who is better, and maybe they'll actually think a bit more about how it is that they make better choices for people in minorities and don't use language like this and don't have thoughts like how they have. And maybe they'll decide to drink less, so then that way they don't do the racist stuff that they have in their hearts. Or maybe they'll actually, change for the better. I don't know. I doubt it. Yeah, thank you for watching. I know this has been a bit of a heavy video. I'm posting this up on both my personal channel and also on my Instagram so that people can watch it there as well if they want to. But I thought it was important for me to talk about, just because a lot of the time things like this in the UK just don't get reported on, and things generally that affect black people don't hugely get reported on. And being a black person in the UK who knows how to use a camera and is fine going onto YouTube and going onto Instagram and talking about these things, I thought it was very fair for me to actually talk about this and put this out there. But yeah, thank you for watching. My channel will get back to doing, music and variety stuff. But if you do want me to talk more about this sort of stuff, then leave it in the comments. If I ever have anything that comes up, I'll definitely do it. It's something I don't do that much because I'm usually a little bit worried, to be honest. But you know, I still think it's right for me to do. So tell me what you think. Yeah. Cool.